Hey everybody, Jason here. Today we're going to do a quick review on the 2015 re-release of the Kyosho Tomahawk. Now a few weeks ago I got a message on Facebook and it was the guys over at Kyosho and they're like, hey look, we know that you kind of do the racing thing, but we see your age group and would you be interested in doing a review on the Kyosho Tomahawk if we were willing to send it? And I said, absolutely. I'm a huge fan of all the vintage stuff. I haven't really done a bunch of videos on it, but I've always been a big fan of it. And so here it is. They sent the actual re-release. This is the 2015 re-release of the original Tomahawk buggy. This buggy was actually released way back in the 80s, back when I was just a youngster. And I can just remember going into hobby stores and seeing kits like this and just wanting so many of these different kits. And obviously we couldn't have them all, but I guess now's my chance to build up a kit from the 80s, right? So let's get on with the unboxing and we'll do the review. Okay, I just got a package from Kyosho. Let's bust out the bat knife, crack this baby open. Obviously, I know what this is. Some people will probably be pretty stoked about this little package right here, and others will. The younger guys aren't going to be so thrilled, but the older guys, I think you guys will get a kick out of this thing. So let me go ahead and finish. This knife is about as sharp as a butter knife. It feels like. Time to sharpen that thing. Oh. All right, so we got a Kyosho pit mat, boom, some bubble wrap, and check that out. Thing looks, man, that box looks absolutely original. That is absolutely awesome. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. Man, that box, dude, that looks really, really close to the original box. So as you can see, this is one of Kyosho's re-releases. This is the Tomahawk, and man, that is really cool looking. So let's see, is it sealed up? It is. So I guess we'll have to break the bat knife back out and cut these seals. I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to mess up the box, obviously. And all right. I guess let's unbox this Kyosho Tomahawk. It's a re-release for 2015, so. Man, it's so funny. Like, these boxes bring me back. As a kid, I had a bunch of different kits by a couple of different manufacturers, and the way everything operated was so much different. So this is awesome. Now, from what I understand, the packaging is a little bit different than the way it went down originally. But I can tell you from having different kits that were originally released, by these Japanese companies, Kyosho and Tomahawk and stuff like that back in the day, that this is the way they package stuff, which is so different than the way they do it today. But anyways, I guess let's start pulling stuff out of the box. I'll show it to you, and then we'll see what you think. So, okay, so obviously we have a pre-cut Lexan body, which is nice, and man, this thing's cut really nice. The holes are already done for you, which is awesome. Have wheels, tires, and it looks like a portion of the gearbox. All right, so there's the rear tire. I don't know if those are aluminum wheels. I think these are just like, I think these are actually plastic wheels with like an aluminum coating on there. And of course you have the transmission, which is all cast aluminum, and it's all bubble wrapped, which is really cool. So let's get out and see what's under here. Okay, so there's nothing under there. And this will probably be the main parts box. So this is kind of like a little shoe box, you can see, right? Of course, on the top you have a new gear diff, which apparently is new. I guess back in the day, I actually never had the Tomahawk growing up as a kid. But I do remember seeing it in the magazines. But you can see it's got these cast aluminum suspension parts and steering blocks. I guess it didn't even have a diff back in the day, but now they basically wanted to update it so that you could get away with using LiPo power and brushless motors. So you can see it's got dog bones, a gear diff, and of course here are what look to be oil-filled shocks. So overall, it's pretty cool. And let's crack this open. Just set this out of the way. And let's see what else is in here. These look like these are chassis pieces. Set these over to the side. Ah, the plastic parts tree. Plastic bags. Oh, so you can see, obviously you can see that there's the helmet in there. The left and the right and the left side of the helmet for the driver. Looks like some chrome buckets for the headlights. Looks like these are the Nerf bars for the chassis and stuff like that. Here are the actual, now this is pretty awesome. Here, obviously, aluminum chassis parts and shock towers, and the rails for the chassis. I'm sure that's what it's got to be, right? That's cool, an aluminum chassis to RC car. Like aluminum rail chassis. So let's see what we got here. Looks like we've got some shock oil and some more aluminum parts, probably the roll hoop maybe, the roll bar for the actual chassis itself. These, I'm guessing are, it says bag B, but I'm guessing that it looks like there's a heat sink, and I'm guessing that these are transmission pieces, maybe some braces for the rear end. Now we've actually got the vacuum formed Lexan driver. You can see the arms of the body and the antenna tube, and so these are obviously just accessories to make the car look good. And last but not least, we have some gears. Looks like there's a seal for the differential, if I had to guess, and a pinion, some washers, and that's pretty much all you get for the mechanical stuff. And of course, this is the manual, some stickers, more stickers, and the body mask. So that's it. That's what you get when you unbox the newly released Kyosho Tomahawk, re-released here in 2015. So I'm pretty stoked. I'm gonna get building this thing, and we'll get it on camera so you guys can check it out. I think it's really cool that Kyosho went through the effort to package the vehicle the same way that it used to come. Now, it's not absolutely identical. The guys over at Kyosho, they told me, they're like, look, we did our very best, but it's not identical to the way that it used to be. And that's okay, it's a re-release, right? But I think at the end of the day, what's really important, they've tried to capture the essence of the experience that you would have had if you were opening this buggy and it was, let's just say, 1985, right? You know, I'm in my 30s, and I can remember going into hobby shops with my dad and seeing some of these kits and wanting them so terribly bad. But of course, you know, we couldn't have every kit we wanted. And I am super stoked that companies like Kyosho and some of the other ones have re-released these old vintage kits. I just think it is the coolest thing ever. And while a lot of these kits may never see dirt, they may never get ran, and they surely won't be raced at the level that they were probably intended for back then, it is so cool to be able to kind of relive those childhood memories. So anyways, I just want to say thanks to Kyosho. I'm stoked you guys sent this kit. I was honored to build this thing, and let's get on with the review. Okay, so I guess let's just start, right? So you guys saw the unboxing, and it was cool they packaged it up that way. Let me just go ahead and show you the car. So this is actually the car right here, and this thing is just, it's pretty gnarly. So you can see the body has a lot of detail, and I'll tell you what, let's just go ahead and take the body off, take a look at the body separately, and then we'll get on with the car itself. So you can see that you have a pre-cut Lexan body. This body was already cut. I didn't cut anything in this body. I don't even think I had to put the holes in it, to be completely honest with you. I just masked it off. I went and bought a can of red, you know, polycarbonate spray paint, spray painted it red. Now, a lot of times when you're assembling kits, even to this very day, a lot of the manufacturers don't always pre-cut the stickers. You know, you actually have to take the sticker sheet, cut along the sticker sheet. That's not the case. Every sticker that's on this body was pre-cut. I didn't cut any of them. All this beautiful white, you know, like these white lines and these like scallops or whatever they are over here on the edges, pre-cut. Windows, the body's actually completely red, but you can see that this is actually black. That's all pre-cut stickering, and I'm thrilled about it. It's got the little exhaust pieces that actually go on the back of the body, and you probably won't be able to see because it's so far away, but there's actually a little piece of plastic to protect the polycarbonate when you actually put the exhaust tips on. And of course, it comes with the lights. I'll show you a little tip on how to assemble the lights here a little bit later, but overall, just when you look at this thing, it's just beautiful. And it actually breaks my heart to even think about taking it out in the dirt, which is why I'm not going to do it just yet, but we will get it in the dirt. I'll talk to you more about that here in just a little bit. So anyways, here's the body. Attention to detail is amazing. And obviously, when this car was created, the whole goal was to really, it was like that scale realism that they were shooting for, and they definitely accomplished that. So I am a big fan of the body. Pre-cut, stickers are pre-cut. You know, the body's pre-trimmed, stickers are pre-cut. I mean, it has like a sunroof, it has a rear window, and it comes with clear stickers so that you can actually detail those edges. So just attention to detail is really cool. And now here's the actual car itself, and you can see from the bottom that this car is actually a twin aluminum rail design, and it's just so far removed from what we're racing today. It was actually really fun to build this thing. But so basically there's the two main rails, and there's basically this crossbar that everything mounts to up in the front, and the arms actually pivot kind of back and up. And just overall, the build was absolutely amazing. The instructions were very clear. There are a couple of spots that you could probably get a little bit confused on. When I was originally building it, I posted a picture on Facebook, and I had this rear plate on the wrong side. It actually said like like face down, and I assumed that it meant the chassis was supposed to be face down, but it wasn't. It's pretty clear. If you read the manual, believe me, you won't be struggling. The only part of this entire build that I found a little bit challenging were these screws that go right back through here, and these plastics for the cage that actually covers the motor. They were definitely pretty snug, and they squeaked quite a bit. Like it was tighter than I wished it would have been, but it definitely wasn't something that was undoable. I know a lot of times when these cars were originally built, when the molds for these plastics were probably made, if they're using the original molds, I'm pretty sure that they are, these things were all assembled with basically wood screws, right? And so you wouldn't have to worry about that. But now that we're using machine screws, I guess that's something I should tell you, right? This car comes with all hex screws. So a lot of the older screws, a lot of the older kits came with Phillips head screws that were kind of like wood screws, but this doesn't. This is the same type of hardware that you would get if you were basically building like an RB6, like one of their full-on race vehicles. But anyways, it's got this neat little heat sink. The transmission comes installed with some of the gears already in it, the top shaft and everything already in it. This actually has a diff in it. The original car didn't have a diff. And this basically what they've done to this particular platform is they've beefed it up so that you can actually run brushless equipment in it. Now, I say that with a bit of caution because you could definitely strap in, you know, an 8.5 and a 2-cell battery and go out and just beat this thing. But I want you to keep this in mind. While this thing is clearly a work of art and it has oil-filled aluminum shock absorbers and aluminum frame rails, it now has aluminum gears in the transmission with a differential and a slipper clutch, it just really wasn't designed for the type of tracks we race on today. If you go back and you Google, like, let's just say 1990 Worlds or something like that, what you'll see is a dirt track where you actually needed a knobby tire like this. And by the way, these tires, this compound feels great. I bet you in a loamy situation, this tire would actually kick some butt, to be honest with you. The fronts feel a little bit hard, but the backs absolutely feel really good. But I'm sure that this car wouldn't hold up well to being beat on and jumped out and whipped out over some of the big tracks that we race today. But if you took it out to one of the tracks of yesteryear, I think you'd have a really good time with it. So anyways, I think it's a really nice car. The assembly went really good. All of the quality of the materials feels really good. And the guy that actually designed this, from what I heard, you know, I guess a little bit of nostalgia, I guess the guy that designed this, his name was Akira Kagawa. And from what I've been told, this buggy was actually drawn up completely on paper. This buggy wasn't actually designed in a CAD modeling system on a computer. It was drawn on paper. And I think that makes it even cooler, right? Because it's kind of like it's like a samurai sword or something. You know, it's like handcrafted. It's not something that was completely, you know, concocted in a computer. So I just think that's really cool. One thing I will warn you about, if you are going to put brushless power in this buggy, please be aware that this was a time before hexes, before drive pins, before all that stuff. And the wheels really just mate onto the axle of the hub with like a friction-based surface. So you could easily, I could see a situation where you're easily not getting enough torque on the wheel nuts or just getting some serious slippage. So I would be careful with it. So you can see that basically there are no hexes or pins that actually mate the wheel to the axle. It just has this little friction surface. So that's why I say be careful. If you're going to take this thing out and run it, I'm sure you'll have a blast. Just make sure that you're able to tighten these wheel nuts down really tight. I ended up using some shock shaft pliers and just holding the axle itself in order to get that done. I'm sure that once the motor's in, it'll be a little bit easier, but still, you're not able to get a tremendous amount of torque on the wheel nut, right? Probably a long time ago when this thing didn't have a diff, this didn't matter. But now that this has a diff, you have to just be a little bit careful when you're torquing on the wheel nuts. The truth is, if you guys want one of these, I would say absolutely go out and get one. If this was one of your childhood favorites, Kyosho's actually re-released it. It's affordable and it's beautiful, but it probably belongs on a shelf if you ask me. I'm thinking about coordinating a little bit of a vintage RC race with me and some of my buddies to get 4 or 5 guys together. And if that happens, I'm going to take this thing out and I'm going to put it through its paces. But until then, it's just too pretty and I'm going to leave it on the shelf. So anyways, this is the 2015 Kyosho Tomahawk re-release, and it was an absolute pleasure to build. It's even more of a pleasure to look at, to be honest with you. And I'm pretty stoked about this thing. So I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hey, by the way, before you leave, I just want to say thanks again for watching my videos. I only make these videos so that we can have fun together. By the way, you'd be doing me a big favor if you could either comment, like, or even better, subscribe to my channel. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.